What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning into my channel, Jace's Own World. I appreciate all of you guys coming to my channel. Today is a beautiful day. I'm just on my way to work right now, and I was just thinking, what kind of video can I make regarding cars that I can make and post for you guys, and maybe get some, collaboration, some conversation out of everyone. Maybe, something a little different, I guess, from what I normally do. So this video is going to actually be about my journey on how I became a car enthusiast, or a vehicle enthusiast, really. What has really made me a vehicle enthusiast? In this video, I'm going to explain that and just, tell you about my journey with vehicles and how I've grown up around them and why I am the way I am right now. So let's get right into that. What's up, everyone? So I found a little spot here. Check out the mountain in the background. This is in Tucson, Arizona, North Tucson, like Oro Valley area. I've actually never been this far up. This is my first time in this spot, so I found a cool little spot to just park and talk to you guys about my journey in becoming an auto enthusiast. Here's my Ford C-Max right here. This is my daily driver. I also have a Mark 7, and I'll talk about the cars that I've owned in this video as well. But let's start with how I became an auto enthusiast. I'm just gonna do a little bit of walking here. I wish I had my selfie stick, but let's go ahead and lock my car. There we go. Anyways, how did I become an auto enthusiast? Well, it's a mixture of a lot of different things, guys. When I was younger, well, let's start back. My dad, and I have to give credit to my mom because, my mom married my dad, and she let my dad explore with his hobbies when he was, a young adult as well, and when they were dating and stuff. And so I think most of my desire to become an auto enthusiast and the things that I love about vehicles in general has stemmed because of my dad. When my dad was in college, and even when he was younger, my dad used to build off-road vehicles. When he was in college, he had a Beetle, a VW Beetle, that he built and modified into a Baja Bug. Oh, I think this is someone's property that I'm walking on. Oh, so I'm gonna get out of here. But he, in college, he built a Baja Bug, which unfortunately he doesn't have any pictures of because my parents' home burned in a fire some years ago, and along in that fire all the pictures that he had. So I'm gonna walk backwards so I'm blocking the wind. But he built that. He used to race it. He did engine modification, suspension, body work, all sorts of stuff. He did his own thing. He loved it. Before that, he also would go to the desert and race his vehicles and stuff like that. This was all before I was born, but he had that drive in him. He had that desire, and he had that as a hobby when he was growing up as a young adult. And so he definitely enjoyed that. And when, he had kids, us kids and stuff, he kind of wanted to teach us boys especially on how to work on vehicles, even though we didn't love it at the time. So we did the basic stuff, tire rotations, brakes, stuff like that. And he tried to teach us how to work with tools on vehicles. And so I think a lot of my DNA in enjoying like vehicles and stuff like that came from him. It stemmed from my father. And also, shout out to my mother, because she was married to him and she let him explore his hobbies, and she dated him when he was doing that. And so, my mom pretty much dated a car guy. So that's pretty cool. Well, as time went on, as us boys and us kids, there's 3 of us boys and 2 girls. As time went on, my dad bought a sandrail, a dune buggy. We lived in Southern California in a place called Fallbrook, which is North County, San Diego. And that's where we grew up. And my dad bought a little dune buggy sandrail, and we would go out to Glamis and Ocotillo Wells all the time. And we did that frequently growing up, and we would take that, and that sandrail was a manual sandrail. And so me being, I don't know, I don't really remember how old I was because it's so long ago, but I'm assuming I was like, I was definitely older than 10, maybe 12 or older when this was all going on. And we would go out to the desert, and my dad taught us boys how to drive manual with that sandrail, with that dune buggy. I also, my mother's father, who was he's passed away, unfortunately. Now all of my grandparents are passed away, rest in peace to them. But my mother's father was an engineer, and he built a lot of stuff, and he was also a farmer. He was an asparagus farmer for the time that I know him, mostly growing up. And so he had a lot of land, and it was all asparagus, and he had farm equipment and all sorts of stuff. And my grandfather, he is just a genius, in my opinion, when it came to that stuff, because he literally built all of the tractors and everything that he operated. All of the mill stuff that he milled asparagus equipment with, he built that all himself. He designed a lot of it. And so he's kind of a genius, in my opinion. And anyways, he had this tractor where my parents, well, going back, my parents took us boys to my grandparents' house, my mom's parents, and they lived in Washington State. And they took us boys separately, each individually, to work with my grandpa on the farm for a summer. And so that's what we did. So my turn, when I went and worked with my grandpa on the farm, I got to know how to operate a lot of his equipment. And so there was a tractor that, let's say, let me turn this around here. Okay, so let's say all of this land right here was farmland, okay? And then let's say this is like the boundary of the asparagus right here. And then there was like a little creek over here. Anyways, he would need to spray all of his stuff for like with pesticides and stuff like that. And so he had a tractor that would run along the line and drive this direction parallel to the farm. But when it came to the driving position is faced this way, okay? So you're driving facing this way, but the tractor is moving this way. Kind of weird. It's kind of hard to explain unless you've seen it. But anyways, that was also a manual, and I developed a stronger ability to drive manual on that tractor. It wasn't very many speeds. I think it was like 3 speeds or something like that. It's so long ago, I don't remember, but it was only 3 speeds, but there was a clutch and a manual involved with that. And so my grandpa would be down below while I was sitting up on the tractor, and I was driving it along, and he'd be spraying while I was driving. So that's another way and how I learned how to drive manual. But those are like the early times of me like learning how to drive manual, enjoying how to drive a manual transmission. And that's, you know, I think a lot of the reason why I specifically enjoy driving manual vehicles is because of that driver engagement and all of that history that I have with me. So it's between my father's dune buggy / sandrail and my grandpa's tractor and equipment and stuff like that I grew a love on how to drive manual. But as far as me enjoying like being a car enthusiast, all of that stemmed way back when I was younger. This is all way back when I was younger. So now let's fast forward to a time when I became a little older and I was able to purchase my own vehicles and stuff like that and get through there, okay? So let's get to that point. All right. So let's fast forward in my life a little bit, and let's talk about when I was in high school, stuff like Yeah, high school. I didn't really have a car in high school, but I still loved vehicles. And we all shared a car between a 1981 Nissan Pulsar. It was my mom's car. That was handed down, I believe, to my older brother eventually. But my older brother, my mom, and I shared that car. And it was a 5-speed transmission. It was gutless, but I loved it. And my cousin, who is also my best friend, his mom and dad also had a 1983 Nissan Pulsar, different color, and it would race everywhere in that thing. It was awesome. And the only way he could beat me, yeah, I'm talking to you. The only way you could beat me is if you cheated by running red lights and stop signs. Anyways, I'm gonna get back in the car because it's really windy out here. And yeah, I'm gonna do a little talking in there because it's too windy, so I don't know how this audio is coming out. Let's get back in the car. Oh, all right, get this set up here. Okay, so we used to do that. We used to run around, and like I said, it was a manual vehicle, 1981 Nissan Pulsar. It had like a gold side skirts and stuff like that, and they had like these little lines in it. And when I would clean it, I would take a rag with a flathead screwdriver and like clean in between every line. I was so obsessed with cleaning. There was a point in my life where I was so obsessed with cleaning my vehicles that I would take way too much time. I would do it like 2 or 3 times a week. It was stupid. But anyways, get back to this story here. But that I had that during high school, so I kind of had a car, but I kind of didn't. It was more shared, but I still enjoyed driving it when I could. And then when I was 21, there was a 1998 black Mustang V6 sitting in my parents' driveway. They asked if I wanted to make the payments on it and keep that car, and I said sure. So I did that, even though I'm really sorry to my parents I didn't make all the payments, and they know that. But I took over that car, and it was a 5-speed manual, and I love that car. It was a Mustang. I mean, who doesn't want a Mustang? It was not the V8. It was not the V8 GT version. It was just the regular V6 version. But I still love that thing, and everybody that I knew loved riding in it. It was such a cool car. When I was 21 years old, back, when I was 21, I was born in 1981, so that would have been 2002. Yes, 2002. So back in 2002, this is like before cell phones, guys. This is before like Facebook, before all the social media stuff. This is when you had like dial-up phones and like internet and all that stuff. Like, this is old ages right here, it seems like. And so a Mustang back then, the car culture wasn't about who had the most horsepower, the fastest. Oh, you don't have a GT, your car sucks. Like, that's how it is today. It wasn't like that back then. If you had a Mustang, didn't matter if you had the V6. It was a cool car, all right? So in that area, I loved it. And I drove, and we had so much fun, made a lot of friends, and we did all that stuff. And that was my literal first real car that I had that was personally mine. It was a V6 Mustang 1998 5-speed manual. Loved it. And then from there, it just kicked off, like I took care of that car so much, but it eventually had a head gasket failure, and I sold that off. And I bought a brand new 2007 Nissan Versa hatchback. I think it was the first year that vehicle came out. And it was a 6-speed manual. And it was blue. It was called Blue Balls. That's what... that is what I named that car. His name was Blue Balls, all right? Remember, I was in college at this time. So yeah, Blue Balls was a common term that my friends and I would use. But anyways... I had that car, and you know what? That car was awesome. It was a 6-speed manual. It was not fast. I think it was like a 1.8 liter or 1.6. I don't remember, but it was not fast, but it was fun. It was light, and it was nimble, and it was just a basic economy car. but I loved it. I loved it. And it was a 6-speed manual, and I just drove it everywhere. It had so much room inside. You put the seats in the back down, and I could fit 3 full suspension mountain bikes in the back there, like all mountain bikes, like all mountain ones, you know, like the big beefy ones. Yeah, it had a lot of room. You just take the front tire off and boom, 3 full-size mountain bikes back there. It was crazy. And this is at a time when I was mountain biking all the time. And so it was a fun little guy. I got rid of that one and I bought an E46 M3. It was a 2003.5. It was a coupe, and it was a 6-speed manual, and I love that car. I love that car. It was so fun. It was the fastest car that I've ever owned at that moment, and I just loved it, man. It was such a good car. And I drove that thing all the time. Went on so many good road trips. I have so many memories of that. And yeah, it's just an amazing car. I eventually moved up to Utah for certain reasons, and I eventually supercharged that car, and then I eventually crashed that car, which sucks. And I'm still so bummed about that because it was a cold day out. So it was a little icy on the ground, and I made a stupid mistake by being impatient on the road, trying to get around someone that was literally stopped in the middle of the road, and I do not know why. And so it was really annoying me, and I was on my way to work, and I made a bad mistake, and I crashed it. And I think the biggest reason is, you know, I wasn't prepared for how the car was going to react when I stepped on it, but also the traction control light was always off because there's some sensor was going, you know, anyways. Yeah, so there was no traction control, and it just spun out of control, and I totaled it. Anyways, sad story. Eventually got rid of that, and that's when I bought so when I crashed that, I bought the Mark 7 GTI, and, you know, literally 2,000 miles after I bought that GTI, I started tuning it and modding it, and then it is where it is, and now the motor sees, and I'm going to be building it up. So that's my history with cars. But I know that was a long history of my car, and there's not really that many, and every single car has been a manual transmission, except for this Ford C-Max right here. This is the only automatic that I've ever owned, but I like it because it's just a commuter. It's a hybrid. It's great. But regarding why I'm a car enthusiast, there's something about it. I mean, obviously, like I explained earlier in this video, the DNA that I have from my father and my grandparents and everything around me, like, that is what got me attracted to cars. And there was something about cars. I just always thought they were beautiful, the way they sounded, the way they, you know, they gave me a thrill when I was inside, and it didn't matter if the car was slow or fast, or if we were off-roading. We would do so many off-roading trips as a family growing up. We were always in the dirt. I always got excited about going and driving. And I know the biggest reason why I enjoy vehicles so much is because of the things that my dad did with us, and I really appreciated that about him. And so now that I'm older and I've kind of had this as a hobby, there's something about tinkering on a car and making it my own way, and then taking it for a drive and feeling the difference between how it was before and how it is now, and the way that it looks then compared to the way it looks now, and how it sounds then and how it sounds now. And then, you know, there's all these different things that I really enjoy about it. And so that's the reason why I still continue to do it, because even though it is an expensive hobby, as most of you know, it's these little internal experiences that we have that keeps me enjoying it so much still. And I enjoy, like, it's almost like a creation, because I like to create my vehicles in a way that, you know, is my own thing. And, you know, every vehicle looks different, so you can pinpoint what makes my vehicle different from your vehicle type of thing, you know? And so it's fun. And then I also enjoy sharing it with others. I enjoy taking people on drives. I enjoy driving myself, but I also enjoy making videos and, you know, having you guys experience it and stuff like that. And so all of these little things are just like things that keep me connected to being a car or auto enthusiast. For me personally, you know, working on a car, it makes me connected with the vehicle that I'm working on. I enjoy having friends that are also in it, you know, tinkering on their stuff. I enjoy going to car shows and doing all that stuff and seeing all the different builds that, all the different, you know, ideas that people have. It's just really fun, really cool. And it's basically art in a sense to me. And so that's the reason why I do it. And, you know, sometimes I say I wish I wasn't a vehicle enthusiast because it is so expensive. I would have so much more money saved. So I would have so many more things in my life right now. But then at the end of the day, everybody spends their money in their own way, right? And I've explained this in other videos before, but you know, when people buy homes, they kind of go out, oh, I want to buy this, I want to buy that, I want to buy this, I want to buy that. Homes can get expensive because you start buying things here and there, and you know, then you start taking care of your home because you're like, this is what I worked hard for, and I'm going to put money into it, and I'm going to put time into it, I'm going to put effort into it. Same thing goes with anything, anyone's hobby. Like when I was back in mountain biking, I was always looking at mountain bikes, like what kind of suspension can I upgrade to? What can I do to detail on my car? What kind of chain is better than the other chain? What derailleur is better? What should I do? You know, people take pride in the things that they own because they worked hard to pay for those items and they take pride in it. Not everyone's the same way, but I know most of the people in my life are the same way, and whatever they decide to spend money in. Everyone has their own thing, and I think it's important to have a hobby in your life, whether it's expensive or not. I think it's important because it shows the kind of character that you are, the kind of person that you are, and it shows that you can take care of something, right? If you love pets, people are obsessed with them sometimes, and that's fine because that's their thing. You know, they love taking care of their pet, you know, buying things for their pets, buying all sorts of stuff, taking them on trips, all sorts of, or camping. You know, how many people are out there spending ridiculous amounts of money on camping gear and then going out and utilizing it? That's what they love. That's what they love. And so as a car person, it's okay, in my opinion, to spend money that you have, that you worked hard for, on your vehicles, because that is what you love. That is a part of your personality. And so I'm glad that I have kind of latched onto this car enthusiast thing, because honestly, like I've done a lot of things in my life that have had a lot of hobbies. From basketball, I used to play a lot. I used to do a lot of surfing. I used to skateboard. I used to mountain bike. There's a lot of things that I've kind of gravitated toward in my life, and I spend a lot of time doing them in their moment of time. And now in my moment of time in my life right now, it's been car enthusiasm and modifications for my car. Anyways, I'm going on a rant. This is a long video. I just want to give you guys this video on why I'm a car enthusiast and what led up to it and the type of vehicles that I've owned. So I hope you like this video. I hope this video can, you know, it can motivate you guys, or it can just, you know, be a soothing video for you to watch while you're out there taking a dump or at work or whatever you're doing. I'm going to end the video there because this has been a long video. So I'm sure a lot of you haven't even made it to this point, but if you have, I appreciate it. Thanks for all of you commenting, liking, subscribing, and everything that you do for this channel. I appreciate all the comments. If you have any questions or concerns, or if you just want to chat, throw it in the comments. All right. Thanks again, and I'll see you to the next one. Peace.